what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the channel Clint Likes Everything, where we cover all kinds of entertainment stuff. One of my favorite things that we do is movie battles, and that's what we're here doing tonight. We are here with another episode of Versus. Versus, we take two movies, put them up against each other, and we have a completely scientific approach at deciding who the victor is. Actually, it's complete horseshit. But before I get into that, be sure you subscribe. And let's get Curtis in here. Curtis, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Clint. How you doing? Good to be back.
I'm doing great. Yes, man. It's good to have you back. Oh, let's explain our scientific method of deciding who the victor is. You want to go for that or me?
I mean, go ahead. It's basically the Socratic method, you know.
Yeah. We have complete nonsense. We made a bunch of questions that we think help decide what the best movie is. Best story, best cast. Which movie makes you hungrier? We do that sometimes. Which movie makes you want to take karate lessons? Which movie's the best date movie? Which movie deserves a sequel? Which movie... What else we got? Which movie...
Best explosion.
Best Explosion's a good one. We got a bunch of stuff like that. And who would you want to have over for a barbecue? That could, real stuff that they teach you in film school. So we go through all these questions, and then we decide who the victor is. We keep score. And so sometimes, I'm going to just confess here, sometimes the better movie might lose. But, yeah, I don't, boo. But we have fun. The main point of the show is talking about the movies and going through them. And rather than just review the movie and talk about it, we have fun and with the chat too. And speaking of the chat, let's look in the chat and see who is here and say hello. Bobby! Hello, Bobby! Oh, yeah. All right. And we got Phil. Yes, Phil, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I want to say, if you don't know why this is a tough one, it's because tonight we are doing Three Amigos versus Galaxy Quest. That's right. Three Amigos versus Galaxy Quest. Two hilariously awesome movies. I never saw Galaxy Quest up until recently. I don't know how I slept through that movie.
Up until he was shamed into it by all of his friends.
Yes, everybody's like, wait, what? You haven't seen Galaxy Quest? No, I haven't seen it. So I watched Galaxy Quest, and I was pissed instantly. I'm like, how did I not watch this movie? Galaxy Quest is, it is a fan favorite. Sigourney Weaver. We're going to go through the cast. I don't even need to go through that right now, but it's a fan favorite. It was voted way up. I think the 7th best Star Trek movie by the fans. Star Trek fans love Galaxy Quest so much that they voted it like way up there. It's a fantastic watch and very compelling performances and just fantastic for a nonsense silly movie to be so good and just so much charisma. I was really, really impressed with that movie, and I actually want to watch it again. I was a little bit sleepy when I watched it the first time, so I've got plans. As Curtis and I discussed before we went live, I found out that there is a mockumentary talking about the backgrounds of the fake actors. Like Nesmith, Jason Nesmith, who's played by Tim Allen, but so it talks about all the characters or all the actors that played the characters in Galaxy Quest. So you can hear, oh yeah, Jason Nesmith used to be in Next Door, which is a sitcom where he played the neighbor that you couldn't see his face over the fence. So it's like a Home Improvement spoof, and they talk about how Alan Rickman plays Sir Alexander Dane, and they talk about how he was the sheriff of Nottingham, and they show old pictures of him in real movies that Alan Rickman's been in, which is just hilarious. I was like, this really hilarious marketing and just a fun idea to do. So I thought that was really cool. But so I'm gonna watch Galaxy Quest again and then watch the mockumentary again. So, but what did you think about these movies as a pick? And I haven't even gotten into. I'm about to really dig into Three Amigos. There is a serious sweet spot in my soul for Three Amigos. That's might be my favorite comedy ever. Like, I love that movie. Watching it again, I had so many flashbacks. I've seen that movie so many times, and it's been a little while, and I just really just paying attention to it instead of seeing it as a kid, seeing it as a grown man, and like realizing the masterpiece that it is. The writing is so perfect on that movie. I can't even like, every line is perfect. It's I might say it's the greatest comedy of all time, and maybe that's a big thing to say, but if to me it might be. Anyway,
Yeah.
let me let you answer. What did you think about these movies? Did you have fun?
Oh yeah, I really did. And like you were saying, you hadn't seen it, but it's kind of funny how under the radar it flew. It kind of still is, you know, to certain fans and stuff. It's Galaxy Quest is you know, very well known and very well loved. But yeah, it like flew under the radar for a lot of people. I didn't see it actually, you know, until probably about 10 years ago. Like I wouldn't even know. I think it's 20 years old now. But I hadn't seen it, you know, to like 10 years ago whenever somebody else turned me on to it. And I enjoyed it then. And I'm glad I rewatched it. It's probably been, you know, 5 or more years since I've seen it. And yeah, Three Amigos, it's probably been, I don't know, 10 years or something since I've seen the Three Amigos, but I'd seen it a lot, you know. So
Yeah.
um like it's one of those movies where parts of the movie are just like part of your dialogue, you know, like it's just, you know, we'll talk about that later, but you
Yeah, on
know,
the quote section,
yeah,
are you kidding me? The entire movie is a
exactly.
quote.
Like
Like,
I
yeah.
had to like choose like be very you know, have discretion whenever I was choosing the quotes. But yeah, this was a really great matchup, and they are unbelievably close. Like it's almost you even notice some things that I didn't that we'll see where it's kind of like Galaxy Quest purposefully ripped it off. Now they're different in other ways, which we could talk about too, but um, it's kind of amazing how close they are.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't watched either movie, like if you're from space and you haven't watched either movie, actually in space you probably would catch the airwaves and see it. But like if if you live under a rock and you never saw either one of these are movies where actors play these characters, and then someone comes and needs their help and brings them in because they think that they're really heroes, and then they get there and they think it's a game. They think it's an act, and then they find out, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious that they really are the same movie.
Yeah.
And for those of you, so anybody who thinks no, there's no similarities, watch this.
Yeah.
As long as there's injustice, whenever a Targathian baby cries out, wherever a distress signal sounds among the stars,
Sounds kind of similar to something I've heard
this
before.
ship, this fine crew.
No.
Never give up.
Never surrender.
Never surrender.
See, it sounds kind.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us.
Oh, I never
Wherever
noticed that.
there is suffering, we'll be there.
Oh, it's completely different.
Line.
Wherever liberty is threatened, you will.
Wherever
Completely
liberty
different.
is
The
threatened, you
third
will
line isn't
find
even the same.
the
What are you
three
talking about?
amigos.
Here, listen again. Listen again.
As long as there's injustice,
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us.
wherever a distress signal sounds among the stars, we'll be there.
Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there.
Oh, you see,
Never give up.
come on. Yeah, I heard that. I was like, what? Of course, I'd never seen it, but then I was like, it makes sense. This was 13 years later. This is somebody's thinking, and I heard somebody talking about it, and he was saying that the guy who wrote it was like, which I should do him the courtesy of looking up his name right now, which I have right here. Screenplay by David Howard and Robert Gordon. Like, he was thinking about, clearly this is based on Trekkies and Star Trek cast stuff.
Right,
It's a
right,
spoof thereof. But he was just thinking about how they do how certain actors get pigeonholed with their characters for the rest of their career, and it's like at least they can go to conventions and do this. And he started thinking about that, and then eventually thought, hey, I wonder what would happen if they ended up in a real situation. How funny would that be? And it just snowballed into the idea, and then he
Yeah.
kind of and then how could you not think of Three Amigos? You know what I mean? If you're
Right.
thinking about that. So apparently and I think it's I'm glad he did it, man. I love it. I think this is hilarious. A hilarious movie. Let's see here. Well, do you want to get into you want to talk to the chat? How are we doing in the chat? In the old chat?
Good. Mel says she's gonna be home soon. Bobby disagrees with you. She says, I think when you were talking about the best comedy, and she says, Young Frankenstein is the best of all time. And that's
Frankenstein.
a
It's
damn good one,
Frankenstein.
too.
Frankenstein. Yeah, that's pretty quotable too. Anytime I'm in a bar and I play darts,
Yeah.
and we'll be playing darts, I'll always say, nice grouping. I'll say it every time. Elevator pitch. It's like Three Amigos in space. Yes, sold. Exactly. It's exactly. Yeah, nice grouping. I say that every time. Well, let's get into the game, man. Let's and when I say game, let's start talking about the cast, the stuff, and all this. All right. Best story. Well, I don't even think we need a point for this, but we're gonna talk about it for a minute. Best story. Very similar stories, but they're both interesting. You know what I mean? Like they are different.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Three Amigos. This takes place early times, a black and white film time, and you've got a little town, a little village called Santa Poco in Mexico that's under the being oppressed by El Guapo, and these people go to look for help, and then they see this movie, and movies are new back then, and they see these heroic guys, and they're like, they can help us, and we don't have any money, but look, they're such heroes, they'll just give the money back even if we did have it. Maybe they'll help us. Then they send a telegram. They don't have enough to send the full telegram. The telegram gets shortened, and by the time the Three Amigos get it, who, by the way, just got fired, they think they're being invited down for a show. And they're like, sure, I'll go. And next thing you know, hilarity ensues. The whole way that this movie unfolds is hilarious to me also because, like, you get the German that flies in and goes into this cantina and whoops a bunch of ass, and then he says, you better be nice to my friends. They're not as nice as I am, basically. And and then he leaves, and they're like, oh shit. And they'll be here any second. I hope you show them a little more hospitality. So then the Three Amigos, the morons, walk in, and everybody's like, oh, and like,
It's gotta be them.
yeah, it's oh no, and it's hilarious. Just everything from like Martin Short saying, "Oh, I could just kill somebody right now," and everybody's like, yeah, the whole thing, and like we said before, there's so many quotes in this movie, like every line, and the idea, the contrast of like having some terrible people that are worse than the German that was just in there. Like these guys are bad guys, the Three Amigos, and then having them go into a dance number, bum 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 bum, and these people are terrified, but these guys are doing a dance number, da 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 da, and while you know, it's like, won't you stay while they're terrified that they're gonna get killed by these guys, and as a kid,
Little butter.
I think it's hilarious. Like, oh, they're just doing a dance number. It's hilarious. I didn't really like grasp the comedy that is the whole situation. If you really think about and to be the writer, these guys are scared for their lives, and just to be the writer that thought of this. Okay, these guys are gonna walk in, and they're a bunch of like. They're not tough. They're they're like show tunes, like actors going into this situation. It's freaking hilarious. It's really funny. Very very clever.
Well, what's great as well is after they leave, and everybody's like, "Oh, thank goodness," the real Germans walk in, and they're like, you know, "Look at these guys,"
Look at
all they
these
do is walk
sissies.
in, yeah, yeah, exactly, they just blow them all to hell. Oh,
Okay, let's see. Phil says, I think the main plot's the same. The difference is the character subplots. I mean, a guy, Fleegman, I'm not even supposed to be here.
yeah, like, there's certain things that like, the overall story is the same, but the way there's certain tweaks to where it's not complete rip off, like we keep like I keep saying, but the cast, of course, is bigger in, Galaxy Quest. There's more of the actors there instead of just the 3, of course, and it adds something to it. Um, and the way they act towards the situation. For example, like whenever the Amigos find out it's real, they take off and they're gone. And then they have to, have a they come back, and if
Have a little
the
come to
r-
Jesus moment with
yeah,
themselves, like what do we have to
needle
go back to?
that's what's great too is Ned, the smallest one's like, I'm going, like, I'm drawing a line in the sand. But with the other ones, like or with Galaxy Quest, Buzz Lightyear says,
Tim Allen,
tells
yeah.
him Tim Allen tells him it's real, and he's like, and like they don't believe him, of course, but he tells them it's real, and they're gonna go. So there's more heroism on the side or purposeful heroism on the side of the Galaxy Quest thing, and they take it in much more of an action adventure kind of you know vein of that. And
He's
but Three Amigos is just funnier. Like it just
yeah.
they play it that way, of course, but that's what it be. They go more towards the comedic, and then and
And it's that old comedy. It's Martin Short and Chevy Chase and Martin Short and Steve Martin. Like they're so hilarious. You have three masters, three of the greatest guys, like
comedic, yeah,
comedians ever, all spoofing off of each other. I want to know how much of it they ad libbed. I would love to see, because you see a lot of bonus features of things these days where you got Will Ferrell and a couple of guys and they do
yeah.
multiple takes and have fun. I really wonder. I would love to have been a fly on the wall just to watch that go down, because just the way they did everything is like it's a masterpiece. Like the three amigos, and then all of a sudden they all shuffle around, and
Yeah.
then then the two of them stop, and Steve Martin is going like keeps going, you know what I mean, and keeps shuffling back and forth. I'm like, it's so stupid that it's awesome. And oh, I don't know. I can't give praises enough for how genius that movie is. And seeing it again as an older man, not being you know a tween, watching this
Yeah.
movie, I'm like, fuck, dude, these guys were masters. It's like I already knew that, but it was like it confirmed it.
And who direct? Because well, and part of it is a direction as well. It was John Landis, of course. Okay, so that makes sense. Because one of the great things is about it is it's obviously comedy, but they do the adventure stuff right uh, as well. But some of the choices they make, like you know, because they're going for it's a realistic comedy, but then they put in the singing bush and the invisible man, you know, and then and and I think that stuff lands because I noticed the scene so much this time when I rewatched it. The scene where they're camping out, and it's obviously a painted backdrop behind them, and I think they're going to do it because the horses sing along and the animals start singing along and stuff like that. That scene is so perfectly shot because they're shooting in Mexico or well, probably California that looks like Mexico, but like they could have easily had them with a campfire in a setting like that.
Yeah.
But they decided to put a painted backdrop and for all these, and these puppets and stuff like that. And it, it allows that scene to hit harder because it's like, okay, I know it's being silly and fake. And then when the other stuff comes with the burning bush and the invisible man, like that works better then. It's like it transitioned from like, okay, kind of a realistic comedy and like, okay, now we're gonna go silly. And then they come out of it, too. Like, but like I don't know. Like it's just so well directed as well. Like it's great.
There was a couple of parts that start scraping the edges of of a like you said, but it's like a different kind of humor. It's almost like Mel Brooks showed up for like a
Really?
week.
Yeah.
You know, showed up and was like, "Hey, what if we did this? What if we okay, they throw the burning bush, and then they throw you know, the turtle. Good night,
Yeah.
Ned." And like because some of that doesn't fit in. It does because as a whole, I can look at this movie as a
Right.
masterpiece, but some of it's different than the kind of humor of of
Like if you cut it off right there and didn't watch the rest of the movie, people would be like going, "Huh? Like that's almost like two different movies," you
it
know?
is
Yeah.
like the German says you have to wait here, you know. Okay, we'll take 3 beers. What's we don't have no beer, just
Yeah.
tequila. What's tequila? It's like beer, and that's like a whole feel, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious, and there's different things that go down. But that burning bush scene doesn't feel like the rest of the movie. I
Right.
noticed that too. Oh great, you killed the invisible swordsman. I'm like, this is some Mel Brooks ass
Like,
shit
yeah.
right here. Like, uh, and the '80s had some weird comedy where it was fun to just do something wacky every once in a while.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what that brand of comedy is. Burning
It
Bush was
worked.
Randy Newman's, Bobby says.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here.
Or
GQ is the reverse. Galaxy Quest is the reverse in a way, since many of them aren't traditional comic actors. Sam Rockwell, Weaver, Rickman, Enrico Colantoni. Yes, I looked that up. Yeah, but I'll tell you
No,
what. I'll
that's
tell you
true.
what.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into. We should probably jump to the next. I want to say as far as best story, I don't think we have a winner on this one, so we're gonna do a draw on on uh,
Okay. Okay.
on better story. There's similar stories. I think it's rude to call Galaxy Quest a ripoff of Three Amigos. They're different. They're different stories.
Yeah, it was
That's
definitely inspired by or something, you could say like that but,
that's like
it's
calling
not.
Michael Myers a ripoff of Jason, which is a whole nother conversation. You know what I mean? But but you know what, you get my point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like we could say which one did Tropic Thunder rip off? Was it Galaxy Quest or Three Amigos? Like, it's the same movie except they're in a war zone.
Yeah.
Like so but yeah, I agree. They're both story-wise both of them deserve points for taking the same idea and presenting it in different ways, much different ways. And it kind of goes with the times too, because Old West was big at that time. Because we don't hardly get any westerns anymore. But we used to get a lot of westerns then now, or well, not but in that early 2000s, stuff like that, sci-fi was hitting, so like, it makes sense.
Well, let's jump to the next category. So we talked about the stories, we talked about the similarities. Let's talk about the cast, because Phil in the chat started getting into that, talking about the different actors, and we always talk about the cast. Who is the best cast? And how do you rate that? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna count Golden Globes and Academy Awards? I don't know. We just try to look at the overall weight of the cast.
You don't know, but
You don't know until you look.
Like,
then-
once yeah.
But then I started looking at these casts, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, this is
Yeah.
not. This is a tough one. So let's look at that. Oh, here we go. So right away, I'm like, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Chevy Chase. I mean, just the weight of them
Right.
alone, they're some of the greatest ever. Hey, I just noticed Joe Montana underneath.
If you got Phil Hartman, John Lovitz, but their roles are so small, like him and Montana, like
Hey, let's not forget Fred Asparagus.
I know I've seen him in other stuff too.
Fred Asparagus. Little bit of trivia. That's Dave from Riddling Kids' favorite actor. If you ask him, that's what he'll tell you. Fred Asparagus is the drummer who spontaneously combusts in Spinal Tap. If you've ever seen Spinal Tap, which, by the way, I want to do Spinal Tap in in sometime in the near future. So we
Okay.
need to figure out another mockumentary that we can put up against it. Write that one down. There's a lot of
Well,
mockumentaries out there, so that'll be fun. Brian Thompson, the German's other friend down here. I've seen him in a bunch of movies. Okay, so we've looked at this. Then you go and you're like, dude, how can you beat these three? How can you beat Steve Martin and Martin Short and Chevy Chase? But then you look at this
yeah,
and you're like, oh shit.
that's a heavy hitting cast.
That's hard. That's like, how do you beat that? A lot of the people in this cast were not even huge back then. A lot of them were, but Sigourney Weaver, for one, is one of the greatest.
Right.
Also,
for sure.
Tim Allen is a great. You can't deny that. Alan Rickman, come on, dude. Like Alan Rickman is
You got Hans Gruber in there. And it's gonna be great. Like it's just gonna. If you got, I mean, like you could be like, hey, do you want to watch this movie Shit on a Stick? And like, no, that sounds awful. It's got Alan Rickman in it. I'm like, all right,
Let's do
throw
it.
it in.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
You want to watch Love Actually? I don't want to watch a Christmas romantic comedy. It's got Alan Rickman. Okay, let's watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. You got Monk. You got Sam Rockwell. You got
and very early roles for Rockwell and Long.
Yeah, Justin Long. This was way before he made it big on Tusk.
Yeah.
This, if I remember correctly, was his first movie. Justin Long, actually.
That probably I believe it.
We got Rainn Wilson.
Oh, who was he?
He's a freaking Dwight.
Well, I know, but who?
He was one of the aliens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's one of the aliens.
I didn't notice him.
Yeah.
Makeup stuff.
And you got Enrico Cataloni, who we're gonna get to this in a second because we're gonna talk about the supporting characters in this movie, not the mains, but the supporting, who I think really added a lot. And I think that boils down to El Guapo and his men, and then the aliens in these two movies. We're about to talk about that, but this guy Enrico Cataloni, he was
Kevin McDonald was in it?
He was super responsible for the way what are they called? The
Telemex or
Herminians? Are they Hermini?
Terminians.
No, I think
it's a T.
It's a H, I think. It is H. Hold on. Yeah, they're
we were both right. T and an H. Therminians. There you
go. Therminians. All right. Sorry, I had to look that up. Therminians, but he invented the way that they spoke by doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, by doing. He had a warm up that he used to do in Yale. That he learned at Yale that he would do with his voice, like that he would do. And so he went in there and started talking like that in his audition. And they were like, holy shit, what are you doing? Like, and his weird way of talking. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, you're in. And then also
that's how a fucking alien would talk.
Therminians, they would have class every day before they would shoot. Where they would, I think it was like 30 minutes or an hour before they would shoot, they would all together, all of them, like go through and do like exercises of vocals and the sounds that they're going to do, and also how they moved. And I watched this video where they talk about like they would move against the natural way of moving. So if you're normally moving your arms when you walk like that, of course I don't exaggerate this much unless I'm speed walking at the mall, but I'm just saying. So they were like, okay, but contradict what your natural movements would be, and so they would move against what they normally would do. So they end up like walking really weird, and they really spent and I watched videos where you had Sigourney Weaver, you had Sam Rockwell, like Alan Rickman, all these people talking about like, dude, the Therminians are legit. Like basically saying like these guys are putting in the work and making great characters out of what could have just been stupid aliens, but they
Right.
they
Yeah.
put so much effort into how they moved, how they spoke, how they interacted that it made the movie. And I really think they're monumental a part of why this movie was so great.
I agree, and like like it's cool to see them in their like octopus uh form, but like if they had just been it may have looked cooler or whatever, like if they'd been in that form the entire time, but it wouldn't have hit as like
Yeah.
those actors
We're-
portrayals like
And let's jump to that next subject. And we're gonna talk. We'll continue to talk about this because I kind of jumped the gun because I started geeking out on Enrico
yeah.
Colantoni, but apparently he was the quarterback of all this. Like he invented how they're gonna talk, and it snowballed from there. So he's responsible for why the Therminians were so great. So he's excellent. Missy Pyle, she's fantastic. I think she was in Mars Attacks, if that's the same person who I think she is. But I know for a fact she was in. Well, I could just click on her. We can see. She was in Why the Last Man Standing. Was that her? I don't know. It was a bunch of movies. I think I'm confusing her with somebody else. Oh, right.
She's in a bunch of stuff though. I recognize her face.
But anyway, so let's make with the points. Who has a better cast?
I got it. As much as Three Amigos has the heavy hitters, overall Galaxy Quest it's got the better cast.
I think so too, and even the people that were young and not known to everyone yet have blossomed into some great actors. And I think not even the weight. It's not a pun. The weight of Fred Asparagus's greatness does not tip the scales. Even though Fred Asparagus is badass, Joe Mantegna, badass.
But again, their roles were just so small. Like
Steve Martin Short, Chevy Chase, some of the greatest ever. But I'm gonna agree with you, man. So we're gonna give this point. This point goes to Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest gets another alien. For those who don't know, we always start with 1 point because it makes it easier for me to add points to the screen. So both started with 1 point. All right. So moving forward, we're going to continue the conversation we're just having, talking about supporting characters. And I was just talking about the Therminians, and look how great these aliens are. They're fantastic.
But if you are saying that any of you could have traits in common with Ceres.
He's so good.
Yeah.
A very clever deception indeed.
And and then I also pulled this clip. It's got a little more, and you're gonna see Dwight in this next clip. Yeah, and then it's gonna go into some Three Amigos stuff where I grabbed some supporting characters that I liked, and then we're gonna watch Curtis's clip. So,
Doesn't she talk?
and there's Dwight. See on the right?
Translator is broken.
Oh wow.
I love that. I'm gonna back up. Her translator is broken.
Broken. Okie doke.
You will die like dogs. I like these guys.
Yes.
They're funny guys.
This movie would not have been what it was without the bandits. Like
I agree.
they would not have been as good.
My little buttercup. Would you say I have a plethora of piñatas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
What is a plethora? Why, guapo?
in it.
Would like to think that a person would tell someone
And it's everybody. It's this guy, the German, the
Yeah.
Fred Asparagus in the bar.
But these are two. I mean, that like El Guapo and Jefe were just. They almost like, and that's the I don't know those actors. Their names. I don't know anything else they've been in, but they almost stole the show from Chevy Chase and Martin Short and Steve Martin, because sometimes they were better on screen. Like it was just amazing what those guys were able to do. And with just their interaction back and forth, and a lot of that has to do with writing and stuff like that, of course. But Jefe and El Guapo were just awesome.
Yeah,
and they're I like these guys.
They're very funny guys. Oh man, so good. I'm trying to find him. What's the number? What's El Guapo's right hand man?
Jefe.
Yeah. I'm looking for him in the.
Yeah, he was in the top right.
Oh, Jefe. Okay, there he is. Man, he looks completely different. That's hilarious.
And that's because they were obviously made to look different for the film. So maybe I have seen them in other things that I just didn't recognize. But I mean, they just killed it.
Well, which supporting characters do you think who wins? Who's got the better support? This is difficult. Those Theremans they were really good, and then the Banditos are fantastic, and everybody else. Who the hell do you pick?
In Three Amigos, again, the Banditos were spectacular, but I mean, the Thermians could have been just a background thing, because they weren't the guys that were fighting. The Banditos were the antagonists. They had they were going to be in front of you no matter what. The Thermians could have been completely background, and they kind of stole the show. They weren't the protagonists, they weren't the antagonists. They kind of stole the show at times, and so I got to give that one to Galaxy Quest. I mean, they were just awesome. I'm
gonna agree with you on that. It's a tough. This is tough for me because this down's getting too rough for me. I love the whole cast of Three Amigos. The bartender's so good. Yeah. But I think you're right, man. Just the effort alone from this,
But if you are saying that any of you could have traits in common with Saris.
Yeah, I think we're going with them.
And how do they not crack up laughing when he does it?
Yeah. All right, Galaxy Quest wins another point. Don't worry, gang, because you never know how these are going to go. And
I wouldn't worry about the Amigos just yet.
I would not worry about them at all.
Yeah.
Here, I have a feeling I know who's going to win this one. But guys, most quotable lines. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we got a couple of lines from Galaxy Quest.
By grab Thor's hammer we live to tell the tale.
Never give up. Never surrender.
That was the two lines mainly by grab Thor's hammer, and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to say this fucking line again," and
not gonna say it.
Yeah, never give up, never surrender. Those are the two main lines. Now, when I had to look for quotable lines for Three Amigos, hold on, buckle up, gang.
Can I have your watch when you are dead?
We don't have no beer, just tequila.
What's tequila?
Yeah, it's like beer.
Is it fattening?
Fattening?
Fattenings?
What is that?
This one.
It's a plane. I think it's a mail plane. How can you tell? Well, didn't you notice its little balls?
I hear that all the time.
It's a mail plane and the balls.
Get it? And that laugh is the best. Then he stops like he doesn't get it.
This town's getting too rough for me.
I've said that a million times.
The Free Amigos!
I've seen people do that.
Oh yeah.
You sons of a motherless goat!
I've heard that a million times.
Well, we could take a walk and you could kiss me on the veranda.
Lips would be fine.
I've heard that a bunch too.
Good night, Ned. Would you say I have a plethora of piñatas? A what?
We used to quote this
Oh yeah.
in
All
high
day,
school. Me and Chris Clink.
Forgive me, El Guapo.
Yeah.
I know that I, Jefe, do not have your superior intellect and education. But could it be that once again, you are angry at something else and are looking to take it
All
out?
the time. We used to drive around Chris's car in high school and quote this all the time.
Yeah.
Could it be
Oh, yeah.
because Carmen chooses to sleep in her cell instead of with you?
And this one, I've said this a million times.
It's a sweater! Right to the horses! And we rode off on the women! Who the hell are you? What is happening around here today?
I've heard that.
Amigos falling from the sky?
Yep, heard that a million times.
He used to say that anytime you're trying to get somebody's attention.
All the time. And then I saw your video that we picked a lot of the same quotes, but it's okay because this is going to be a pleasure to suffer through. There'll be no suffering here. Let's see what Curtis got.
You sons of a motherless goat!
Son of a motherless goat? And they call those scum-sucking pigs.
Us!
Us!
We could take a walk and you could kiss me on the veranda.
Lips would be fun.
Yeah.
Yes. I like these guys.
They're funny guys.
Funny guy! It's a sweater!
Yes.
You know how bad I wanted a sweater for some gift just so I could say that?
Dude, I used to be a waiter and we'd have to sing the birthday song. And like so we would sing the birthday song and then when everybody would clap, yay! You know, it's already humiliating to have to sing to a family at a table for the
Strangers, a
birthday.
group of strangers.
Yeah, and you know, but yeah, everybody's clapping, and I would always go, "It's a sweater," and then walk off. Oh, that was good stuff. So, who's the most quotable?
I will say, in its defense, I have said, "Never give up, never surrender," like for motivation anytime I have needed it. But it's you just give up, Galaxy Quest. You're not going to win this one. Like,
There's it might debatably the most quotable movie of all time.
Yeah. Like, and that's what I mean. There's so many other ones. Like
Dumb and Dumber's got a lot of quotes in it. Dumb and Dumber is so you're saying there's a chance. And Samsonite, I was way off. There's a million quotes in that one too, but and Office Space has quite a few, and so does Napoleon Dynamite. But this might be the most quotable movie ever. So, which I'd like to bring those other movies in on other episodes too, by the way, gang. Mel says,
ululating wins most quotable.
I don't know what that means. Step Brothers does too. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You are right.
So much room for activity.
I think Bobby says Amigos. Bobby's usually right on the money, and I think she's right on this one. Just the amount of quote clips that we were able to pull. I'm gonna go with Three Amigos. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we had to we were like, we can't put them all in, so we have to pick the heavy hitters, like.
Oh boy. So there we go. Amigos making a comeback.
Welcome, Anton.
Let's see here. Put that there. All right. So a quotable. And this one, best dialogue. I mean, this I put this down because I was thinking. I started thinking about after I watched this movie, and I already went off about it because it blew my mind looking back at this movie and how good it is. How when I say this movie, I'm talking about Three Amigos. Every line in the movie is perfect. It's like every single line in that movie is
Right.
brilliant. It's how do they do that? I maybe I need to watch Galaxy Quest a few more times for it to be fair. I don't know, but I'm very biased on this, and I think I think Galaxy Quest is really good, but I don't think it's as good as Three Amigos as far as just all of the back and forth, all the conversations, every single line, and through the whole movie of Three Amigos is, in my opinion, pretty close to perfect.
Yeah, that's like Galaxy Quest. Anton says just because of Fred Asparagus as well. Yeah, I mean Galaxy Quest, like it, it it has good dialogue and stuff, but it also has it has this kind of Three Amigos isn't it's not a standard film. It's like Galaxy Quest has characters that move the story along and other characters that are comedic characters, and everybody kind of has their own little comedy role here and again, and stuff like that. But it's amazing how the dialogue. Yeah, you're right. Like in Three Amigos, like almost every line is a hit, and it's one of those movies. It is so rewatchable. We've rewatched it a bazillion times, and then like that. But it's been 5 or so years, or I don't know how long since I've rewatched it. But every time you do, you notice another line. Like
Well, they're all deliberate. That's the thing.
yeah,
It's
that's what I'm
like
saying. Yeah,
every
exactly.
line is deliberate, and it's usually setting up another joke. And
Yeah.
every single and as a songwriter, like I could tell you, like you'll write lyrics, right? You'll write a
Right.
song, and you start writing lyrics. The goal is all hits. But so you start writing lyrics, and you will it's very common to get to a line and you're like, okay, and you're trying to come up with something clever, but you just kind of fill it with something that rhymes. The next line might be perfect, and we're like, okay, we're just trying to get from point A to point C, and B, it works, it rhymes, it makes sense, but it's not Shakespeare. You know what I mean? And sometimes, and there's movies have that too. It's like you're just trying to get, and there's some great points, and you have this. It's more like connective tissue to get to this other good part, and it's filler is what you would call it. And Three Amigos doesn't have filler. There is no filler.
Well, and like, because even last time or when I rewatched it this time, like one of the things that hit me, and I didn't put it in the clips because I don't think if anybody else would have, it would have hit them as much maybe. But that whenever Needlemeyer is talking or Ned's talking about Dorothy Gish, and it's like he's like, who was it? Dorothy Gish. And so first of all, he's talking about some random, not silent film star in America that like nobody knows, and he's saying it to these people in Mexico that's like some of them may or may not even speak English, and he's just like wondering why they're not amazed. Like it was just like the scene was like it was just so funny. Like
It's so
to me this time.
absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I never noticed that scene before. It just kind of, I was waiting for the, other scenes or something like that. And this time I watched it and I was like, that is so funny. It was just, I cracked up probably more than anything on that one scene that I don't barely remember. Like,
Yeah, I laughed a lot from a lot of things like that. That were just I never
And I-
noticed that as a kid,
yeah,
or didn't know why that was funny. I guess.
and yeah, I'm gonna start using that now. And whenever he's like, "Do you know who it was?" I'm gonna be like, "Dorothy Gish."
So my vote's for Three Amigos on this one. What do you say? Bobby says dialogue Three Amigos.
Yeah,
Really?
I agree with that Amigos, and she says Lillian Gish was a very famous actress of the silent era, um, and so that's probably what they were doing. They were probably playing off of that. But I definitely remember it was Dorothy. Like he was.
Yeah, it was Dorothy. Dorothy Gish. He was so like, oh my God. Can you believe? Can you
And
believe
he's looking at him like
me? She told me. She told me that. Oh, it's fucking hilarious.
they're just looking at him.
Oh, let's see. Phil says Three Amigos is more like a Mel Brooks movie in the dialogue category. The scenes don't have to be moved along as literally as Galaxy Quest. You're right.
Yeah.
That most of the time they're just busy being ridiculous, and it just kind of moves along to the next scene. Whereas there is a little bit more of a story happening. Well, it's just told different. It's just a different style of
You've got
storytelling.
action sequences in Galaxy Quest to carry the story along. You've got that's what I mean. It's got more. Like I said, I think Three Amigos is the outlier here. I like Galaxy Quest is a good film, and it does everything that it's supposed to do. It's just it's almost like a Mel Brooks movie, like where you just write and like so much of that stuff hits every time. Like it's almost amazing, like that they can do that.
Well, let's see. How about sequel? Which movie deserves a sequel?
This one's a really tough one for me. So, if Alan Rickman hadn't died, like I think Galaxy Quest absolutely deserves a sequel.
Oh yeah, they were talking about it.
Yeah.
They were talking about it, and I think sometime around like 2008 or 9, and then the passing of Alan Rickman, and then like now everybody's like, yeah, we can't do another one without him, obviously. But how funny would it be if
because if they brought the other act, because when at the end whenever he says we'll see the scene in a little bit, I'll be back, Steve Martin says I'll come back. Like if they actually come back, and they've got the same actors and actresses, obviously you can't have a WAPO and stuff like that, but and to do another one, like I think that they could absolutely do another Three Amigos, but damn, I don't know, because without Alan Rickman,
what would your pitch for another Three Amigos be? What would they do? They came back to the United States, and then with no prize money, with no money, they didn't take the money, so they come back to the United States. Or
that's good.
Or they end up staying in Mexico.
Maybe
they decided.
But it would have to be so many years later though, because they're obviously older now, and so, or maybe they did stay in Mexico and
El Guapo comes looking for them in the United States.
Because honestly, you could shoot Steve Martin right now, and he could play the same age as he was then.
Yeah.
Like it
he's
matter.
looked the same since The Jerk. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's genius. If your hair goes gray in like when you're a young man, then you're set. You never get old. You just stay the same age forever.
Damn. What would be a good Three Amigos movie?
We're having this much trouble pitching a Three Amigos sequel. The only thing I could think of was that he actually goes back
Uh-huh.
and then discovers that somebody else came along and took over Santa Poco, and then he has to go back to the United States and get the Amigos to come back. He's like, he maybe goes down there. I'm going to go visit Carmela, and then discovers that everything is in shambles, and then goes back to get the other two to come to Santa Poco, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah. Well, I like what Bobby says too. They stay in Mexico and they start a movie company. Like that'd be
Yeah.
that'd be like they've read.
Galaxy Quest sequel is the funeral of Alan Rickman, the alien. Now we're talking. This is like the
Galaxy Quest sequels.
Yeah, but this is now starting to be like the Black Panther sequel. Villains show up to do to show their respect, and then Evil's ancestor follows them to enact revenge, and then it plays like Independence Day. That could
Maybe.
work.
Like honestly, like yeah, I mean that's what they'd have to do.
Yeah, it's so tough. It's so terrible when you got characters that you love, and we lose the people that play them, and you can't just recast the guy, because that person's charm and charisma and nuance is what makes the character. And you can recast characters, of course, but it's like you can't imagine somebody else playing Alan Rickman's character, and you're like, why bother? Let's just leave.
Alan Rickman, like
Yeah.
like of all the people,
Yeah, let's just leave that alone. Do we have to make a sequel to everything? No, we don't. So let's just leave that one alone. And
No, but it deserves one. It
yeah,
especially after at the end of the freaking movie, an alien spaceship crashes into the Earth like through a convention. Like the end of the movie, the end of Three Amigos was pretty ridiculous, because where did all those guns come from? And they obviously they couldn't solve that stuff, but like whenever we watch Galaxy Quest, I was like, oh, I forgot they crashed an alien spaceship into a parking lot and through the convention center. Like, so that's a whole international incident. Like,
well, let's just say we saw these two movies in the year 2000, and we had to ask ourselves this, without people passing and any of that, but we saw these movies in the year 2000, and we said, okay, which one of these do you think deserves a sequel more? Which one do you think we could pull off as a better sequel? I would say, I'm thinking Galaxy Quest is to me, it's a no-brainer, because it almost feels like the first episode of a series on on Netflix.
And then, no, that's like, yeah, exactly, because I might want a Three Amigos sequel more or something like that, maybe, but I don't want them to screw it up either. But like, yeah, Galaxy Quest, like even when you first saw it, or it was like that. There should be more of these. That's what I mean. Like, it flew under the radar, and I guess that's why there's not. But it's got some fan appreciation now, and hopefully they will.
I think it's hilarious that the Star Trek fan community, the Trekkies, love this movie so much. I think it's great. I think it's great. But they're all super likable, and it's I don't know, it's fun.
You know what they should do? You know what the sequel should be?
What?
Obviously recognize Alan Rickman's death, like Phil was saying, to some degree, but they should have this sequel where the new danger is some spoof of Star Wars. So and they got to go up against like guys with like light whips or something like that, like, and so they're fighting, the final battle.
Well, what you do is you have a similar thing happen with Star Wars, but
the Thermians have
Star Battle.
The Thermians won, and so now they're the oppressive culture against, and then
they start an empire,
and some other alien race recruits like some Star Wars veterans, their version of the Star Wars veterans, and they're battling each other, and they're like, oh, wait a minute.
I just had a nosebleed. Well, I think we both agree, along with the chat, that the point on this one goes to Galaxy Quest. That's for the sequel. Who deserves a sequel? Okay. Bam.
Gee, you baby.
All right. Well, let's see what we got now. What do we have now? Do you have any trivia? Any stuff that you pulled up, or any stats?
No, not really. I'm dropped the ball. I didn't pull anything this week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We've only had 2 weeks to do it, and I didn't do it. But I can pull some up. Not a problem.
I need you to talk for about 90 seconds. I got something going on over here that I got to check on real quick.
All right. Where's the fucking trade?
Or even talk to the chat if you want.
Yeah, we can do that. I can
Yeah.
always do that. So yeah, last week, last week was just a rough week. Clint was sick, and I had this thing going on. I wasn't able to pull clips last week because my internet decided to go out, and it was one of these things. So we get internet and we get cell phone through AT&T. And we had actually, but it's two separate bills and it's two separate, completely separate entities. Apparently, they're one company, but they don't talk to each other. They're not. But we had accidentally paid the cell phone bill twice, and not the internet. And so they were about to cut off our internet, and they sent us a text. And so of course we were like, "What are you talking about?" And figured out we'd pay the cell phone twice, and of course they can't transfer that money for some reason. Like, it's a multinational organization, but it can't, transfer our bill to the Wi-Fi department. And so we had to repay it. And by the time it went through, it went through on the day that they were going to cancel it. And so there were the internet was going out, but then it was working and going out and it was working. And it was just it was just a nightmare. And it's like, why is this a thing? I've already paid them 3 times now for this, for my regular billing, because I don't know, it's a multinational corporation and they can't just go, "Oh, well, obviously I can see that you paid us twice this month. Let me take that money and put it over here. There you go. All right. Well, we're done here." They can't do that. It's like I'm taking crazy pills. But anyway, so that's what happened with me last week. And yeah. So I will say happy belated birthday to Bobby.
Yeah.
Her birthday was January 11th. Happy birthday and many more to you.
So what did we determine what we're doing next week? Did you talk about that?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
But I think we did determine, but I didn't bring it up.
We'll bring that up in a little bit.
Yes, Phil. Yes, Phil. It's
like an airplane using. What are y'all talking about? What did I miss?
I was talking about why I didn't have internet last week, and but yeah, it's why is that an issue? Why are these things problems? Don't we live in the future? What? I have a computer in my pocket. What is going on? Why is this a thing? So, I mean, I thank God I wasn't one of those people flying. It's just insane, that I don't know, that these things still occur. This should be, especially as technologically driven as we are now, that should be something that's constantly updated. That should be something that's.
What went out? What did I miss?
Well, first over Christmas, Southwest just went out, their stuff went under, and then the FAA was getting all over them saying, this is ridiculous, blah blah blah, and then the FAA software went out, or something like that, and so all these other flights got canceled.
I have a friend who is a hacker, but he's a white hat hacker security guy, and he said, "Yeah, dude, I got a email early in the morning that they were shutting down all flights." And he said there was a security issue and where some software had been compromised or something. And he's like, and then later in the day it was all over the news, but he heard about it early. But yeah, and I was like, what? He's like, yeah, all flights went down. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But
well, I think it's more than just like I think we are getting hacked somehow, and they don't want to say it.
yeah, they're not gonna tell anybody that.
Yeah.
But
But still, like, but it's probably because we're using software from the early 2000s, like, and Russia's like, we've had plenty of time to figure this shit out.
well,
they didn't pay their bill to the correct version of the like.
They didn't want to renew their software license, so like, sorry. Well,
McAfee, they didn't pay their McAfee.
That guy. There's some crazy documentaries on that McAfee guy. He went crazy and moved to like South America, like
Really?
Costa Rica or somewhere, and like was held up. I think it was him. Pretty sure it was him with a bunch of machine guns and cocaine and hookers and all kinds of crazy stuff. There's some crazy stories. That guy, like, he sold his company and cashed out and had to leave the country because they were after him from all kinds of nutso stuff. Yeah, do some research on that guy and you'll see some crazy stuff. From what I understand, I'm like 99% sure.
I want to see that movie.
That versus Cocaine Bear would be a good time. Yeah, so speaking of dates, it was Belize, and I guess it was McAfee then. McAfee. Date movie. Which one would be a better date movie? Yes, Phil, the Thurmans are hacking us.
The Thurman Mermans.
First of all, date movie. I submit this. This is how my dates go.
I'll come back one day.
Why?
Well, I thought that maybe you would die.
Oh.
Yep, that's very accurate. Or Curtis says this one.
Just take her.
Oh man, that's not how my dates go.
Just
Take the woman. This is the creepy date. I don't know about this one.
But wait.
Do not understand women. You cannot force open the petals of a flower.
When the flower's ready.
Flower is ready. Opens itself up to you.
There you go.
That guy. Better date movie. Bobby says Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with her.
Yeah, I kind of want to give it to Galaxy Quest too, because at least you had some strong female leads there, and I mean, the women in Three Amigos were beautiful and lovely and all this stuff, but they were kind of barely there, except maybe to be damsels in distress and stuff. But even Jane Doe at the end in Galaxy Quest, you had some strong female leads, and it was and still some romance stuff going on. So probably yeah.
Well, Sigourney Weaver, I saw an interview where she's talking about it. She's like, yeah, this is like the polar opposite of Ripley playing this character,
wow,
and she's like, okay, and she had a really, like, a lot of fun throwing on her, I don't know if it was a wig or she dyed her hair, but both with blonde hair and popping her boobs out as much as possible and all that. She's like,
so did I.
Instead,
that too.
Like instead of being the strong action ass kicker, like, she's like, this is a completely opposite thing. It's like the sister of Ripley, and it was like completely fun to do, and and I was like, whoa, Sigourney Weaver's like playing it completely, because she's always like super intelligent, strong lead, and this was a completely different thing. And I thought it was really funny for her to and they're making fun of old Star Trek roles
Yeah.
back in the day, you know, where they'd throw some eye candy that didn't really do much, and her role was basically in Galaxy Quest is to repeat what the computer said back to the cast. She's like the point person between the rest of the crew and the computer, and they're like, we can hear the computer.
Yeah. She's like, I got one job and I'm gonna do it, okay? Yeah, they're like, that's kind of annoying. She's like, I'm gonna do my one job. That's what it is. Like,
yeah, it's hilarious. But I think this is a more fun adventure kind of thing. I kind of picture myself. I like to geek out on certain things.
Yeah.
And where, if I'm seeing somebody, she usually would be like, oh God, on certain things that I geek out over. And I think that I would geek out over Three Amigos, that it would kind of be like, oh God, man, geez, he really likes this movie. As opposed to where we can enjoy Galaxy Quest together. I have a feeling I would spend too much time quoting along with the movie, and she'd be like, man, can I just watch this movie? You're like, you know every line of this stupid movie. So my pick is for Galaxy Quest.
Phil does make a good point, though. He says, if your date doesn't laugh at least 3 times in Three Amigos, they're not your person.
Yeah, and
so not a first date movie, but like kind of down the road, it's like, let me throw this in and test the waters here. You know,
that is true. That is a good litmus test. These always end up being ultimatum questions for me.
Yeah, that's how Phil takes them.
Uzi says boobs.
They've got boobs in the new Avatar?
They're blue. They're bloobs. Sorry, I had to go.
Blue boobs.
Yeah, so my vote's for Galaxy. What do you say?
I agree.
All right, let's throw that in. Date movie, Galaxy time. All right, points. Throw another Alien. Unexpectedly, Galaxy's holding its own against Three Amigos. I thought it was not possible for anybody to even come close. Okay. Date movie. Oh, well, let's ask Ethan. What do you think? What do you think Ethan would like? This is always one of my favorite.
Yeah. Hey, you know.
Ethan, what movie would Ethan like better?
Well, I thought you'd never ask. Three Amigos versus Galaxy Quest. 2 of the most influential movies of the 20th century. I love these movies.
Well, good.
But not for their effects. We don't need effects. We need chops. I want acting chops. That's how I base my movies. If you're worried about how it looks and all of this crap and the extended universes and all this crap, I want acting chops. So let's take a look at some chops.
All right.
All right.
Yep. Fair enough, Ethan.
I don't know why I still talk like this.
I don't either, Ethan. It's weird. Well, let's watch these clips. What happened to his head?
By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
Look how good he is, man. Look at this look at the end. Not him.
That's how I want to die.
Alan Rickman. Look at him. God damn it, dude. He's such a good fucking actor. Even in a ridiculous movie, I gotta back this up. Even a ridiculous part, look at he's got this ridiculous makeup, but he's got to play
say this silly line.
Intense role.
Even the fake actor doesn't want to say this silly line, and the real actor's gonna say it.
Look at this.
By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
And he's making you tear up, like in this.
Like,
then look at this look.
It's fucking go time.
Jeez. And then
It's go time, baby.
Ethan wants to see Chops. All right, Ethan, let's see what we got over here.
This is real. You mean... Yes. They are going to kill us.
What am I doing in Mexico?
Oh shit. Dramatic Chops. What am I doing in Mexico? Well, Ethan wants to see Chops. Who do you think had the dramatic chops that would get the respect? I'm gonna have to go Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, you got it. Like if it's got Alan Rickman in it, like and you gotta.
The other thing is
it's kind of like a Gary Oldman movie. It's like, well, fuck, it's got Gary Oldman in it.
Three Amigos is playing the whole movie. They're playing it campy and silly on purpose. They're not playing serious. These other guys are having real epiphanies. Like these theremins need us. You know.
I will
and go ahead.
Again, I will submit. Ned Niedermeyer.
That's
like
the one.
When he decides and that's, I mean, the littlest guy, that's where it hits. Like the littlest guy is like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do this because it's right. And they portray his character earlier, whenever they're like, what are you going to do with the money? And they're like, I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to buy a mansion. And he's like, I'm going to like open an orphanage, or I can't remember what he said.
Well, yeah,
me
too.
Well, yeah, of course. Like I'm going to buy the stuff after I do that, you know? But like, yeah, Ned has a point like that where he draws his line in the sand. Like,
but
it doesn't hit nearly.
But from a acting student's analysis, you know what I mean? Like if you're a student of acting and you're looking at Ned, like, I'm drawing a line in the sand, but then you got Alan Rickman's like,
no, you're not.
So, you know what I mean? It's like he's got the chops, and I think such a fine actor is Ethan Hawke. And Ethan's asking for chops. I think we got to give it to Rickman on this one. So,
yep, yeah, we do.
All right.
Bobby says, "Did you notice after Steve was shot on his jacket, 2 scenes later, no blood?" I didn't notice that one, but I did notice at El Wapo's party. Chevy Chase is wearing his disguise, and then Ned shows up, and he's just immediately in his Three Amigos outfit. Like it's, I was gonna pull it for WTF, but like it's like he's immediately like he's just.
I don't mean to interrupt you there, dude, but we got a new subscriber. Travis Decker just subscribed. Get some, yes,
right.
Get a little applause for Travis. Good to have you part of the gang. You'll see some of the same people in the chat every week. So make friends with them, and we are super happy to have you. Super happy to have you. What is? Phil's like, Ethan Hawke, I forget how close you guys are.
Yeah. That's why he still talks like that, because he knows you're from Texas, and he's like, yeah, I got it.
He's method acting.
Boy,
yeah, method acting. All right. Well, let's see. What's next after that? We just had a date, and then we had what would Ethan like? How about this?
What does Ethan say?
If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, which one of these two movies would you pick? Dun dun dun.
I'm gonna have to go Three Amigos. Now, I do want to rewatching Galaxy Quest. Maybe want to watch it again, but I've seen Three Amigos a million times. I've seen Galaxy Quest, not a million. I mean, a few times, several times, and it was very good. but this time it wasn't as good. And Three Amigos was not way better, but like it just, I guess, because that's what I mean. When we sit and watch these movies, we like sit and watch them and look for things and stuff like that. And it was like Galaxy Quest was it's still a very good movie, but it was like it's not as I don't know. I guess whenever you're watching it to break it down or something, it's not, you're there for the enjoyment. But Three Amigos was, I mean, it just hit so much harder this time, and it's always been a standard. So I'd watch Three Amigos. I'll watch it right now. Like if you want to put it on.
I'm gonna agree with you on this, and but you're right, man. It is interesting since we've been doing this show and going and watching these. It's one thing when I go see a movie, and if I walk out of the movie and I think, hey, do I want to make a quick video to throw up on YouTube, like to review this movie? That's one thing. But when we're watching, and I know we're going to have an hour conversation about it, and I know we're comparing it to another movie, and I'm watching under a microscope. I'm watching movies that I've seen a million times. When you review a movie that you've never seen before, it's one thing, and you're still putting together your idea of what you think of this movie. But a movie like Three Amigos, and all of a sudden I'm watching it through a completely different colored glasses, and it's really different, and it's awesome, and I can't believe how much I enjoyed a movie that I have seen no less than 50 times, and because I'm watching it with a different hat on. And I'm trying to come up with another analogy for I've used glasses, microscope, hat. Okay. Anyway, no, but no, but seriously, and it's really fun doing this with all the movies that we've done. And for one thing, sometimes it's a movie that I would have never watched, and I end up enjoying it. And then when it's a movie that I really love, I get to notice new details, like Dorothy Gish. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to agree with you on this, and I think the point for if I had to pick a movie to watch for the rest of my life, and it could only be one of these two movies, it would have to be Three Amigos, because now it's aging like fine wine. It's just getting better and better, and it's a movie I've seen no less than 50 times. So I think we'll agree. And if it was Bobby, she would say Young Frankenstein, which is a good pick.
I probably watched Young Frankenstein actually more than I watched Three Amigos. That's a damn good one.
It is a good one. We'll have to come up with something to put that up against. So let's give Amigos the point, because they don't have much time to make a comeback. I would have thought that Amigos was going to kick the crap out of Galaxy Quest, even though I really enjoyed Galaxy Quest, but it's actually pretty damn close.
It is, yeah.
Which is the fun of this show. You never know. You never know who's going to win, because this grading, this grading is complete nonsense. All right. On to the next category. Which movie made you want to take karate lessons more? Okay, here's the Clint karate lessons video.
Do you think I'm a fool? That the commander does not know every bolt, every weld in his ship? Prepare a tear.
Oh, boy.
For the female.
Oh, don't go after Sigourney Weaver.
Man, you dirty mother.
He needs karate lessons.
Yeah. I just had to gut punch him and he's down.
Yeah. Okay, what about Curtis's karate lessons?
If he had only taken karate, he would have been like, yeah,
oh.
Bam. Oh, yeah, if that German bad guy only took karate,
he would have been like,
yeah, that's right.
Oh, man.
So there wasn't a lot of fight scenes in Three Amigos, but there were the shootouts. And I promise you, as a little kid, anytime there'd be a shootout, I'd be like, "What? Why don't they just do what Bruce Leroy does? Like, why wouldn't they just do that? Like, catch it with your teeth? Like, I thought that was a real thing." And well, for Bruce Leroy, it is.
It is a real thing.
Yeah. And obviously, I want to watch The Last Dragon again, so that'll probably happen this week.
Who? Most importantly, right now, who are we going to put up against the Last Dragon?
I have no idea. I mean, who can beat Bruce Leroy? I mean,
So we'll have to go back to that question. So karate lessons. Man, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it because I'm, I tend to lean towards Three Amigos, but from what I've seen, I don't think karate would do any good in Santa Poco.
Unless you're a master like Bruce Leroy.
Unless you're a master, I think.
But if we're talking about getting shot, whereas a gut punch took down Buzz Lightyear,
yeah.
So, some karate definitely would help those actors out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we'd have known some, that's the wrong movie. But yeah, well, she probably wish she had some karate.
I'll come back one day.
Okay, why?
Do you think I'm a fool? That the commander does not know every
You could
boat,
easily,
every weld in his ship?
boom, like,
Yeah.
bam,
Prepare a tear,
kick to the
It
groin.
starts
You
to
don't
glow.
for the female.
You don't know where his groin is though, so that makes it tough. But yeah, these guys, she could have karate would have fixed this whole thing.
Yep. When you got to glow, you got to know that.
If-
and they could have just been like,
And she could have done if Sigourney knew this move. Yeah, she could have kicked both of those in the groin.
both of them off. Yeah, exactly.
But that's supposing that species has that's their groin.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
it could maybe it's not a weak
She could have
area.
done a split kick. It doesn't matter. They're just bam.
Yeah. All right, Galaxy gets it. Oh, I hate this right now. I really want Three Amigos to win this. This is fucking ridiculous, I'll say. I just dropped an F-bomb.
Oh, snap.
This is some bull. All right. Here's a new one. If you had a barbecue, who would you rather have over to party with? Here's Curtis's video. Yeah. Dude, I want that in my backyard. Switching hands, I love that. Oh.
You telling me you don't want to party with that?
Dude, that...
You don't want to party with that? That's a party right there.
Yeah, or you can have this, and this is my pick for backyard barbecue. Same thing. Yeah, dude, partying.
Okay,
look at those moves right there. I want that in my backyard.
Yeah. You know, you're gonna have some good fajitas, some good smoked corn, like all that. Like, man,
A band?
that's what I'm saying.
You get a band going? Yep, that's who I'm partying with.
Yeah, the other guys are gonna be sitting around talking about their career. Oh, I'm pigeonholed as an actor because we're talking about the characters, not the actors. You know, the characters. Like if you could party with the characters.
I mean, you could be partying with these guys.
But if you are saying that any of you could have traits in common with Saris,
I don't want that at my barbecue. No. I've had that guy at my barbecue. It's not fun.
I mean, they look fun. They do look fun.
Yeah. Now you've been at a party where basically the human equivalent of the Thermians show up. It's not fun.
But they don't look this fun. These guys, this is how you
That's
party.
A barbecue. That's straight up a barbecue in Texas. There you go.
Yeah, I want to party with El Guapo. And look at Jefe. He's got moves too.
That's right.
All right,
baby.
dude, that's a party. That's how we party. For those of you who are not from Texas, that's how we party.
Yeah, that's kind of every Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the ululating. Let's give a point to Three Amigos.
That's right, Riley. We got a party with the Amigos.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that we didn't even show. We could be doing sing-alongs with them. We could be doing,
I didn't even bust out with My Little Buttercup. I mean, wild.
And animals are going to start singing. I mean, shit. Like,
boom, 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 boom. Good night, Ned.
Nope.
Oh boy.
Poor little guy. That's another one. Poor little guy, all tuckered out. We say that one all the time. And first guy to fall asleep at the party. Poor little guy, all tuckered out.
And okay. Which movie do you think you will watch again first?
Ooh. Damn. Well, so it probably. Go ahead.
Realistically, which one do you think you would watch again first?
So, I'd probably say Galaxy Quest, because again, to me, Three Amigos was better on this rewatch, but Galaxy Quest rekindled my interest, and I wanted to see it again. But wifey did say, she didn't watch Three Amigos with me, and she was like, "Oh, this was the other one. Well, I love this movie. We should." So maybe I might watch Three Amigos. But for me personally, I want to watch Galaxy Quest again. But I've seen Three Amigos so many times.
Yeah,
Galaxy Quest got to catch up.
This really hurts me because I know this is going to this permanently tips the scales. But if I'm realistic, I'm going to watch that mockumentary about Galaxy Quest. And then I'm probably rewatch Galaxy Quest because I missed the boat on this movie. I didn't watch it until last week, and I enjoyed it. It was great, and I feel like holy crap, I missed out on this, and I didn't know it. And I've seen Amigos so many times. I had such a great time watching it the other day, but I don't think I need to watch that anytime soon. If it's one of those movies, if it's on, I happen to stumble across it, I might get sucked in. Like a lot of movies, if I see, if I see 40-Year-Old Virgin or Dumb and Dumber or there's Anchorman, I might be like, just stay there and keep watching it. It's
I know it's going to be good. Yeah.
There's a lot of Christmas movies too that and now that we have streaming, that doesn't happen as much. But when you had cable or regular channels, you're
just flipping.
And you'd happen. Oh, next thing you know, I'm like, crap, I'm watching this whole movie. I'm gonna finish Commando.
Right.
I'm gonna finish it. So
it's comfort food for your eyes. That's that's what it is. It's like I know it's gonna be good, so let's do it.
So I guess which one am I gonna watch again first? The point begrudgingly goes to
the Galaxy Quest.
I'm happy for Galaxy Quest, but at the same time, I'm sad for Three Amigos. One of my top 10 movies ever.
I feel like a part of me is dying a little bit.
I feel like I'm stabbing them in the back. I feel like they're my friends and I'm stabbing them in the back. They really. Speaking of stabbing in the back, don't stab us in the back, guys. Subscribe. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet.
What is Mel talking about?
I don't know. She's talking about a 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We did that with my buddy Dustin. and it was just exactly. But this happened before that movie, and we like it, it was hilarious. It was the funniest thing ever. And
Causing my friends.
I think he
pain.
dropped some different words other than Kelly Clarkson, because that's what Steve Carell says. Oh boy. All right. Well, Bobby says Amigos. Phil said Galaxy Quest.
But Bobby said she's only seen it twice since the first release. So
How
she
lucky.
wanted to watch. Yeah, I
How
know.
lucky are you? Because you get to watch it again and just unwrap all those little nuggets of goodness.
And that's like I didn't see it on for it came out in what is it 89 or something like that. I didn't see it 87, 89. Not like I have a fucking internet machine in front of my face. 86. But
you have the history of human information right in front of your
literally
eyes.
on the tab in front of my face.
It's on a stand for you to look at.
So I didn't see it on first release or anything. This was one of the cable staples. That's how it caught me, and like I just like again like even as a kid or whatever. Anytime it was on, be like, bam, all right, because you're going to see some slapstick comedy, you're going to see some, funny jokes, you're going to see, talking or singing horses, so even as a kid, it draws you in, and then, but it's just a rare movie like that where you can grow with it as an adult. It's like the movie grows with you. It doesn't, because it hasn't changed, but it's anyway.
I remember as a kid, you and two other friends would line up and you'd do the. You know what I mean? And like, or be singing My Little Buttercup even, you know what I mean? And all that. And then you go back and watch it, and it really is the quotability of this movie where you tell us we will die like dogs. You will die like dogs. Like you're just waiting for every single line. This town's getting too rough for me. Love that movie. But
I kill men. Not crying women. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Oh, as much as I love the Three Amigos, and I will say again, it's as close to a perfectly written comedy. I think. Who the hell am I? I'm just some dumbass with a YouTube channel, but it's one of the closest things to a masterpiece of a comedy. And there's a handful of them out there, and I think this one it should be up there as one of the top 5 comedies ever. I think is a safe way to phrase it. So, but all those things cast aside, it doesn't make a fucking difference because it lost today. Amigos, you failed. I would never believed in a million years that I would say that. And the winner today is Galaxy Quest. Oh my God. Galaxy Quest has triumphed today.
It has.
My God. Can you believe it?
So now, again, we got, a certain amount of time later, maybe next year or something like that, we got to do Galaxy Quest versus Tropic Thunder. It's the same movie.
Oh shit! We can do that next year.
Tournament style, baby.
What do you mean, you people? Man,
I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker.
Well, that's a good idea. Well, guys in the chat, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in today. Curtis, what are we doing next week?
What
are we doing? And why are we doing this team up next week? Don't forget that. I know you already addressed it, but maybe somebody just tuned in.
Yeah, next week because today is Friday the 13th. Oh,
holy
we miss
smokes.
It again? Every Friday the 13th we miss it. Yeah, like literally the last 2 or 3 times, like there's been a Friday the 13th. We were like, we could have done Jason this week. Thank you, Mel, for reminding us of our failure. We are doing next week. we are doing Paul versus Ted. This was a recommendation by the lovely birthday girl Bobby, and it's gonna be a good one.
Paul versus Ted.
That's right.
Which movie named after a first name will prevail? Find out next week.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Exciting, guys. If you didn't, oh yeah, almost forgot. I haven't seen this in a while. That's for Mel.
There you go.
Little Van Damme action. Guys, this is the team up next week. Boom.
Bam.
Paul versus Ted right here on a Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Two good ones.
Check it out. Again, be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. We want to thank everybody who tuned in today. Curtis, thanks as always for joining me on a Friday night.
Pleasure, sir.
And we love you guys in the chat. We couldn't do it without you. We have a Patreon, too, that you can check out. And I'll have that in the description. And, man, thank you so much. You can find me on Twitter at Clint Likes Everything at Twitter. And Curtis, are you doing social media? I know we can find you at Bakertown right here on YouTube.
Yeah,
Tell them about that.
You can find me at Bakertown on YouTube. You can just go to @Bakertown or you search the channel Bakertown. Me and the kiddos do some family videos and all that good stuff. I'm probably about to start a new channel where I review franchises in total, and see how they work out.
Cool.
But we'll see. Hopefully
Awesome.
I will find some sort of time to do that. But otherwise, that's about it.
Awesome. And starting next week, you can find me on Tuesdays. Tuesdays at Small Screen Live. Do a search for that. Small Screen does a lot of edited videos. They just started a new side channel where it's going to be live streams. We used to do videos on the regular channel. We used to do live streams, but now they're going to separate that. The crazy algorithms. If you have a long, hour-long stream and the engagement, you tap in and tap out, and it messes with the algorithm. So, and they're trying to grow that channel. So anyway, that was a long bunch of extra stuff you didn't need to know. What you do need to know is you can find me on Tuesdays with Edward Lauder, doing the thing, and that James guy. And that's going to be fun. And that's basically just talking about current events in the entertainment business, movies, streaming, all that good stuff, and comics and stuff. So anyway, all right, guys, we love you. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in right here on Clint Likes Everything for another epic episode of Versus. So be sure to hit the like button. That's something I never say. Just give us a thumbs up down there if you get a chance, and if you had something that you didn't get to say during the live stream, feel free to leave a comment, and we appreciate you guys. We will see you guys soon.
Oh yeah, Lisa Marie died.
And yes, rest in peace, Lisa Marie. Very sad passing of Lisa Marie Presley. And, we're big fans of Elvis and Priscilla and his daughter, Lisa Marie, who tragically died of cardiac arrest. So we didn't say anything about that. And shame on us for that because she's a very special lady. So we'll dedicate this episode to her. And the world is sad about that passing, and every passing, it sucks to lose people. It's just part of life. But what we can do is remember the good things about them, and we will not forget Lisa Marie anytime soon. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we will see you guys next week.
Tune in next week.
Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah!